Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Grandpa Mark's Hobbies and build update number 2 of our 1985 Pontiac Fiero GT kit. It's from Revell. A lot got done here over the week. So let's get the guys out of the way. And Chandler and TJ are dead on this engine. We got Wayne checking out the interior. Tim is ready to get this thing out of the shop. TJ and Terry are on it. Lee is just happy it's red. Rob's making dinner. And Daisy, Daisy's just ready for the ride. So let me move a bunch of stuff out of the way. We'll start with the interior. I showed you last time when I sprayed this with the Kaleido paints. I did not care for the tan whatsoever, so I changed that over to gray and flat black, and I like that a lot more. And what this is Tamiya's gray, Tamiya's flat black, and quick shine. I just went straight out with that. I did the dash myself. I didn't want to use any of the decals. The only one I did use is on that steering wheel, the Fiero logo, just because that's awesome on there. Everything else is basically just blacks, clear reds, and my white. I love this thing, and I'm going to show it off again. My white cheapo chalk pencil, upside down, of course, from Amazon. I sharpened it up tight, went up against those gauges, and just kind of wrung them around with it, and it looks real good. Then I put my UV resin in there, hit it for 1 second, and made nice gauge glasses for it too. The only thing I forgot to do was I forgot to paint the needles red. So we got white needles on white letters. There's always something in a build. But everything else came out really good. I don't know why that's showing orange on the gauge on the radio, but that's actually green. So there we go with the interior. It went together, no problems. I like the way those seats look now. I did try to put the little decals on the seat backs for the speakers, and they looked horrible. So off they went. Next, let's talk about the body. I love these Fieros. This is Kaleido red over top of Kaleido gloss black. And I think I got 2 coats of it, and then I had something going on. I just didn't like the way it came out. So I wet sanded it, and then I hit it again with the Kaleido red. Put 1 more coat on it with my new airbrush. Let me drag this over here. By Grandpa Mark's Hobbies Aventus. I like this. I got the 0.4 millimeter needle in this right now. I did have the 0.2 millimeter needle in there earlier. Just playing around with it. I like them both. The 0.2 will draw a pencil tight line. The 0.5 covers very well. I didn't go any farther with this because I wanted that paint to cure very well. I'm going to stripe this off. I want the silver on the bottom. And then might think about using one of the decals, maybe the blue, to break up that line going all the way around. I actually have the bumper taped up. So it goes this way. Ready to get going. I want to get that sprayed this weekend. The mirror is curing. It's the Fusion Firm over top of Kaleido Black. A lot of this is Kaleido Black and then flat. This is craft paint black, though. After I said that, just because I wanted to brush it in there, and the Kaleido paint is still pretty dang thin to brush that much of a surface. So I did that. I got the underside in black too. I painted this silver on here. And the reason why I painted that silver, but first I want to say, No panel liner. That's just the way the paint went down over top of the gloss black. And again, I have to tape all this off and make that black. But again, back to this, I smoked my rear view lens and then painted it with Tamiya's orange. I still have to paint the next ones in with the white, but to put that on here, see how nice that looks? I like how that came out. Boy, that's showing through a lot more than it really is. But I like how that smoke look. It looks dead on. The only thing I have, and you'll notice, is around the bottom and the top, I'm showing silver. I knew it was going to do that. I will take one of the Tamiya's markers, the pen, and come in here, and I'm going to do a black ring around the top and bottom, like that black weather stripping would be. And I think that'll look really good. While I was at it, I smoked the sunroof, so that's going to look really good in place there. I like that look. Instead of going with just black, I used the Tamiya's smoke, and I brushed it on there on this one. I wanted to see how that stuff brushed on, and what better flat surface than this, because it's actually cupped a little bit. That's 2 coats to get it that dark. And I'm really happy with that. I was surprised that it only took 2 coats, but it went down there really nice and smooth. The tail light that I showed you, that I threw back in here, I wanted to make sure it was in. I love these containers. Luke has 2 of them over there with his Gundam, but I want to make sure I threw that in there. With that one, that's just 1 coat of smoke. But there is the body. It's looking good. I did not cut open the inside and do the radiator. It's so far back, and it actually has radiator in there, that once I get this silver painted, because it goes up and around it all the way, I will come in there and I will paint that the black with the acrylic black. And now I'm using the folk art because so many people said they couldn't find my old apple barrel that was 30 years old. So I got rid of it, and I'm using what everybody else can get, and it works out really good. Let me come back to the interior. You see how I have the gray and the black is flat and semi-gloss. I even had this over here. This is quick shine. I just put it in an old medicine bottle, and I quick shined everything that would have been vinyl got quick shined, and everything that was carpet got left alone. And it works out great. And that's just brushed on. So there's that. And now I can't wait to show everybody this. I got excited in my build, and it was going together so well. There's nothing wrong with this build except for one little thing in the instructions. So stick around, because you'll want to see this, because it'll make your life a little bit easier. It's nothing major, but it's just one of those things that was like, if you switch this to that, it'll be a lot easier. But right now, let's look at the engine. I know that's supposed to be an HEI distributor, but I had a 6-cylinder distributor given to me that was already pre-drilled, and I wanted to put his distributor in the build. Hand-painted the silver, the Fiero decal on there, if I can get it to stay in focus, was supposed to go across the whole thing, and I didn't want that. I cut just the Fiero part out of it and glued it on. The rest of that's just hand painted. Nice little decal here for the cap. Wait a minute, let me get my finger. We'll go green today. The little cap has a real nice decal. The radiator fill cap has a nice decal on it, and the hose. They all went on very nice, easy. But the detail in this is awesome. I use that white marker to do the belt lines, and I did put them to where there's 4 of them on there. Um, the exhaust, I painted this with the brown iron, and then I painted the rest silver. It went on really neat. It just kind of flexed over, flexed on, and it was on there and done. But what was nice is it gave it a little bit of movement for when I put the exhaust in underneath. But I used my Weathermaster C and dirtied some of that up. I dry brushed the vinyl part here and the can, along with some, this got dry brushed. It just doesn't show it as well. But I wanted to show that off and give it some highlights, plus dirty the engine up a little bit. The next thing I'm going to do, so don't yell at me in the comments, is make a bracket to go over for both of these. I wanted it in the car just so it wasn't scooting all over my desk while I fit the bracket on there. But it drives me nuts to have those just kind of floating out in the middle of nowhere. Centrifugal force isn't going to keep that at the end of the pulley going where it's supposed to go. So we'll make brackets for those and put them on. But if this body fits on there as nice as everything else on here has fit so far, this is going to be a no problem build. Underneath, check this out. How nice this is. I did not add any hoses, wires, or anything to the underside of this. The only thing I added wires to was the distributor and the PCV hose that went around to the front. And those were pretty dang obvious that they needed to be done. But once this body goes on top, you're not going to see anything else in there. I had all kinds of plans of going crazy with the wiring, but I think it would just take away from the all the hard work that the person that made the mold did. So I didn't want to junk it up, which they were pretty junked up with wires. They really were. But on the bottom, I sprayed all this with a flat black and then let it dry. And then I came back and did everything that would have been a panel or something steel other than the body panel in semi-gloss or quick shine. I'm sorry. And then I let that dry. As this was all in pieces, I did that. So each individual piece got quick shined. This is quick shined. The frame across here, the little frame coming down, and the two back here across the front. I did all that with the quick shine. The 2 hoses coming down here, I'm pretty sure are for the air conditioner because they have insulation on them. I painted that with the rubber black. And then the radiator lines I painted with flat aluminum, Weathermaster C, and then a little tiniest bit on one of these, as a matter of fact. I love these, and thank you so much for them. I would have never bought these, but now I'm never going to not have them. This is like a micro Q-tip on a little bit heavier toothpick. But I actually dipped that in the panel liner, and it got pretty heavy on there, and then I was able to just wipe it on without it getting onto the flat. So I didn't have to go back and touch up the flat black after I already dry brushed everything. So that worked out good. And again, before I did the panel liner, I dry brushed all this with just, here it is right here. Desert yellow. My favorite color in the whole world. But I did a medium dry brush on this, not to make it dirty, but to bring out all the details that were put in here. Like things you can hardly see, the wires in the back, the vents, and all these vents I did quick shine before I dry brushed, and then I came back and dry brushed it all, and I think that really brought it out even more. The hoses on both sides are my Amazon gel pen. I got these things a long time ago off of Amazon, These are the silver. This one was the gold. And then I let that sit for 3 days, and then I went over that with the silver, and it made it that copper color. And then when I dry brushed it, it made it even better. So there is all that. And the rims look awesome. I don't know why they're looking gray on my camera, but they are silver. The Pontiac emblem shows up well on them, which isn't showing up at all here. There we go. But you can do decals on those if you opt to. But with the just a touch of the panel liner, it showed up really nice. Inside showed up dark the way I wanted it. Drilled out and painted inside the exhaust so it looks like it goes in there deeper. This is all, the exhaust was Kaleido aluminum. And then the muffler and the catalytic converter were the Kaleido's titanium. And then Weathermaster C and panel liner to give them the look that they're not the exhaust pipes. And that's all I was trying to do, was separate them from the look of the exhaust pipes. And I stopped with the Weathermaster right here on these lines and left the aluminum go here. And I think that gives it a nice, almost like a chrome tip look. But I want to talk about this front end right here. And I'm going to bring you down just a smidge if I can without making it huge. And I'm going to turn you around. And I'm also going to pull out the instructions here, because it is like the other kit where it's a little bit backwards. You see, you have this frame going across, and then there's the springs go down on either side of this, and this is one piece that drops down and the tire goes onto it that comes back to here. This is not a mold piece. This right here, don't cut them off. If you do, it'll glue back on like this one does, real easy. I snipped it off flesh here before I realized what I was doing, but everything worked out in the end there. But you can see your sway bar and your steering bar going across here. On here, it shows, it's going to show you put this in, which is fine. Put all this on, leave the wheel off. Just trust me. You can put the wheels on after that's done. But the next thing they want you to do is put your steering arm on. Wait on that. Put this one on first. It drops down in the front under the steering arm. So if you put that on, and what you got to do is slide it underneath this piece here. And you really could leave this off and put that on if you wanted to. I think it'll work out just as simple because everything lines up anyhow. But if you go by this and you go 1, 2, go, or 11 and 12, go 14 and 13 on here, and it'll make it a lot easier because that's underneath and you don't have to tuck it in and get it to lock down in a tight space. With this on, there is a ton of room here to get these in. So you don't have to worry about it if you want to glue this on and get the springs, and the axles on before you go ahead and drop everything else in. But do yourself a favor and don't put your tires on just because you're coming in from this way. And that tire would have been right in the way. You would have had to finagle it around and you would have scratched your paint and everything else. And I had to put a couple of $100 in a job jar before you got it done. But fortunately for me, I had followed the instructions well. So I did this one. Then I did this one. Then I got into here and I had to come from this side over. Well, I'm right-handed. It would have been easier for me to feed it this way. And if that tire wasn't there, it would have been out of the way. But I fed that one in, and then I had to feed this one under that one and around it in there, and then put the final piece on. So just a heads up on that. Make your life a little easier and go 14, 13 first in that order. Everything else you can do. Um, but yeah, when I realized what I had gotten myself into, I thought, boy, for a half a second of forethought would have saved me 10 minutes of trying to get glue under here, this piece in, not hitting anything to smear the glue, and in the right spot. But if your upper arm's not there, you can put the glue in there, slide that in, drop it right in place, then put the glue in for these two, slide that in, drop it right in place, and no harm, no foul. It'll go the same way. Not sure what this bar is for underneath here, but just for the heck of it, I quick shined it just to add a little bit more interest underneath. But you can see the detail in this kit is flat out awesome, especially that engine. That engine was fun to build. It really was. The engine and the transmission. I did get heavy-handed on the axles when I weathered them, but they look okay. Transmission is two-piece. It is tight fit from the transmission to the engine block, so expect it when you put the glue on there. You could file it out, but I kind of liked how when I put the glue on and then pushed it in place, it held in place till the glue dried. The front piece, this piece right here, how about if I put it in frame? Your radiator overflow line that runs back here to Never Never Land is out of the way when you wire it, but I would recommend putting your exhaust manifold on first and then gluing this in place, just so your exhaust manifold will be in the right place. Mine's actually a little bit low because this was pushing it out of the way. And I didn't want to start bending this around because you're going to really see that when the car body's on top of it. You know, that's going to really show off underneath there. So I didn't want to start finagling with that after it was already solid glued. If I would have had the exhaust in there first, which it shows put all that in at the same time in the instructions, if I would have put the exhaust in first, let that glue dry, and then put this on it, it would have tilted itself normally to where it would have been on top of it. That's all. Again, this is all one piece on the top, and I painted it black, then painted the red just to match the car, and then came back in with the aluminum on the throttle body and run this plastic. And I was thinking I'm going to run all kinds of throttle linkage and lines and stuff like that it would have, and put the coil block over here and make a little plate for it and all that. And I thought, man, I'm just taken away from all the hard work that the person that made that mold did. So I said, you know what? No, I will put my wires in just because I really like that he made me the 6-cylinder distributor cap. So I dropped the wires in. This would have been a really good kit to do box stock because I'm not putting lights in it or anything like that, but I had to have those wires in there. I needed that distributor, even though it's not an HEI distributor, which would have been almost impossible to drill out and make look right. And you see the wires I got run over the top of the intake there. Every single picture I see, there's 2 wires running over the top and around, and the other ones go around the bottom and over. So it must just be something underneath there that's in the way. I know the fuel line should have come up and into that throttle body somewhere. I imagine it's underneath there. And then, you know, you got your hoses for your compressor, you got your wires for this, and there was a ton of wiring harnesses going around there that I thought I could use the guitar string to put in there. And then I thought, you know what, I'm just making it junky. It would have been to scale junky, but again, I would have lost a lot of the interest that the person that made the mold put into this. And I'm really starting to like how much work he did to this, and I want to show that off. So here is my update for this right now. My next step is going to get this finish painted, get the body finish painted, and then this thing will be done. But what I want to do is I want to paint that silver on the bottom, and then I want to let this sit for 3 days and harden up all the way. And then I want to get at least 2 coats of clear on this thing and make it that deep, wet, clear look. Even though they really weren't, they were pretty much like this, where you could see reflection but not huge. I want this thing to be deep in there. Not only do I have to mask this off for the silver, but I'm going to have to mask this off for the black up on top. If you look, I put wiper blades on. I haven't hit them with the quick shine yet to make them semi-gloss, but I did that, and I'm not sure, and I haven't looked if these are going to be red, black, aluminum, or what. I just haven't even looked yet. Right now they're red, and that's just because that's as far as I went with this. But with that, I think I covered everything. So this will be a quick video. I will let you go. Let's thank Gallery for everything. My gosh, they're keeping me in paint, and they're really coming out with some neat stuff. I love this new airbrush, and look for sales. Use Grandpa Mark. If you get anything from Gallery, you get a 10% off your order. I do get a kickback from it, but I'd rather see you get the 10% and something really awesome. So if you do get anything, let me know how you like it. Let's thank our active duty members, our veterans, and our first responders, because they put it out on the line every single day for us, and I salute each and every one of them. And I want to thank everybody here for all the likes and subscribes and kind words in the comments and everything. I'm almost at 8,000 subscribers, and I just blows me away. I didn't think I'd have 8 subscribers, let alone 8,000, and that's all you. So I thank each and every one of you, and you all have a great day and a better tomorrow. Remember, build for fun, and thank you for watching.